Hey there guys, BlackPanthaa here, and welcome to a very special video indeed today. I have something awesome to show you, and it is the Elgato HD60. Now, kind of a bit of a bad news to start off with. I was going to do a whole in-depth comparison review as my only video for the Elgato, but I thought, you know what? I currently don't have the equipment to record the actual comparison visually of the device itself and the size and such. I want to do a very in-depth review of the capture card, going from an Elgato to an Elgato HD60, and I can't really do that at the moment, but what I'm going to do for now is tell you my initial impressions, because I've had it for a day, I've given it a quick go, and I want to tell you how I feel right now. So, the Elgato HD60, what is the difference between the first one? Let's begin with that. Main difference is it's 60 frames a second. Now, what's the big difference between that and another capture card on the market that does 1080p 60 FPS? Well, there aren't that many that cover 60 frames a second. You'd have to get some really high-end stuff that captured direct feed and, you know, not very good with compression and such. And it would be basically very high-level stuff that, say, Digital Foundry use. And then came about AVerMedia, I believe, with their 1080p 60 FPS capture card, which their software, from what I've experienced, is good, but I don't believe it's anywhere as easy as the Elgato software, which is why I stuck with my Elgato. And not only that, but the AVerMedia capture card was actually 1080p 60 FPS with USB 3.0. You couldn't get 1080p 60 FPS unless you had USB 3.0, which was an issue for me because I do not have USB 3.0. So I couldn't get their capture card, you know, scratch it off the list. I was considering it, but then Elgato announced theirs. And I looked around the internet just as soon as they announced it and stuff, because I was really interested to see if this capture card supported USB 2.0. Well, obviously they support it, but if it was a USB 2.0 device rather than having to have USB 3.0 to get 60 FPS at 1080p. And thankfully, the capture card is on USB 2.0 at 1080p 60, which is awesome news for everybody, because not a lot of people have USB 3.0. And to get USB 3.0, you're going to have to get a new motherboard, and if you don't want to do that, you can also get a PCI expansion slot card. But mine's covered by my graphics card, so it makes it a bit awkward. But thankfully, this capture card doesn't require me to have USB 3.0, which is awesome. So that's a massive plus already. So that means pretty much everyone with the basic laptop, because I'm pretty sure most of your laptops do not have 1.1, you know, USB 1.1, so that's good. Anyway, do I notice a visual difference in the actual capture card itself? So say in games where 1080p 60 FPS doesn't matter, say most games on next gen at the minute are 1080p 30, not even 1080p some of them. But do I notice a visual difference between this capture card and the last one? Now, I haven't had a proper in-depth analysis, you know, comparing them, you know, pixel by pixel or whatever, but from what I've noticed, the new capture card does seem to do a lot better in kind of separating things. Like, it's as if the actual device doesn't compress the video as much, or maybe it just, yeah, maybe that is the case. Maybe it doesn't compress them as much. Maybe it's just because, I don't know, I didn't look at it long enough. But from what I notice, it's easier to distinguish the line between an object, say the car, and the road. And that's something I noticed was a bit on the old Elgato. But once again, I've obviously then got to go through the YouTube compression, which may do that anyway, so you might not see that. And as for the colours and such, they're exactly the same. Everything feels the same. The good thing is I literally plugged in the new Elgato to switch out to record the footage in 60 FPS to show you a kind of a comparison I'm probably going to do. I'll probably do that in my review. It was actually plug and play. You plugged it in, it didn't come up with installing drivers or anything, because the capture card is pretty much the same as the last one. It installs with the software. So that is awesome. I literally unplugged it, plugged it in, and it worked out of the box. Fantastic. And I've had no issues so far. Been recording all day to get some footage ready for doing comparisons and such. And I'm probably going to do a big comparison to show you just to be sure. So, am I happy with the Elgato HD60? Yes. I mean, obviously it does everything as you expect, and it's an Elgato product. I think Elgato is such a good company now, because if I go to that company, I know it's going to be simple, yet it's going to know, you know, it's gonna, they know what people want. For example, the new software, which I haven't really got into a lot, the new software allows me to separate commentary, my voiceover, from the gameplay, and you can also add webcam feed footage, and you can separate that as well, and then edit it all yourself in Sony Vegas, and it's synced up for you, ready to go. and that is absolutely fantastic. And obviously it works even better with this new capture card because you're capturing in 1080p 60 FPS. Now, I would kind of go more in depth here with this video, but I think I'm going to save most of it for the review because I don't want to kind of say something and then have to go back on it on the review. But my initial impressions, this capture card is fantastic and probably one of the only options really if you're looking for a capture card for your games consoles, for next gen games consoles at 1080p 60 FPS with the best quality possible. Now, most of the footage in this video will not have been kind of edited at all. I do have some settings, I kind of brighten it and put more contrast on it so I can get the blacks better when I go into editing, but what I'll do right now is you'll see there will be a difference in what I do. So this is some of the settings I use in Sony Vegas afterwards because I prefer to do it so it's pretty much stock recording with the software and then doing the lighting and editing after in case the game doesn't really like it that much, because it just makes it easier for me. But as you can see by this footage, this is, you know, some of the stuff you can come up with when it's done. Now, obviously, once again, I've got to say that this is not what it kind of looks like for me. Because, well, obviously, I am uploading it to YouTube, which has also got YouTube compression, which I've also compressed it from Sony Vegas. So, once YouTube does fully support 1080p 60 FPS, the quality should be even better for you guys, which is awesome. So, I'm ready for 1080p 60 FPS on YouTube, and I think you should be as well if you do commentaries. And I think the Elgato HD60 so far is one to go with, but I'm going to wait till my review, so yeah. So as I said, thank you ever so much for joining us for this video, and once again, thank you Elgato for actually sending me one of these out, which is absolutely awesome, an awesome opportunity to work with you guys. And I'm going to be doing a couple more videos, maybe one more video for a review later on. So as I said, thank you for watching, and give it a like if you found this helpful. As in the next video, guys, peace. You